I said, oh, I had to look at my nails. I had to look at my nails and see if I had to get them cut. Hey everyone, this is James, also known as Jamesy, also known as CI, the J Christian. Welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. So I am back with a new video, and this is going to be my review on The Real Housewives of Atlanta Season 16 Reunion Part 1. Now, before I get into anything, I will say, to me, this reunion was not bad. Like, it didn't give too much, but it was just enough. But that's just for me. So I will say most of the ladies kind of clocked in. They did a little something, did a little 1-2. But yeah, that's just me. Oh, and before we get into anything, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on my social media. Links will be down in the description box below. And without further ado, let's get into this review. The reunion starts off with all the ladies showing up to the studio. Now, they're shooting this reunion in Atlanta. Usually they shoot it in New York City, but now I think going forward, they're gonna do it in Atlanta. And you see Phaedra going into Britt's dressing room. Once Phaedra went into Britt's dressing room, Britt was nowhere to be found. Like, Phaedra was shocked as hell. So then Phaedra went into Portia's dressing room. Now, mind you, Portia was asleep. Like, she had a whole baby blanket and everything. Phaedra had to wake her up, and she had to say that Britt did not show up. And everybody was shook. Even when Cynthia came in the room, Cynthia was shook as well. Like, it was just like, oh my God, right? So now the ladies, they go to the reunion stage. And honestly, it's no shade. They showed up to the reunion stage 2 hours or 2.5 hours late. They're supposed to show up at 9:30, but they ended up showing up at 11:30. Kelly was the first one to walk out. Then it was Angela. Then it was Shamia. And then it was Portia. And then Phaedra came out looking like a mess. Like, I don't know what she thought she was doing, but she came out confident, and I guess, you know, she just had to do what she had to do. So, had she took that headpiece off, I would have loved to see the hair, because the hair actually looked good to me. And then Drew came out last. Drew, I'm gonna need for you not to show up late. Like, for real. Like, you showed up 3 hours late, and you were the last person to show up on stage. Girl. Anyways, so the reunion starts off with Andy, you know, saying, you know, Andy has his message. Did y'all clock when Andy said one OG clocked out and another OG clocked in? I said, man, like, we know who Andy is talking about. Kenya is not in the season no more, and then Phaedra came and clocked in. Basically, you're talking about Kenya and Phaedra. And another thing too, why are y'all calling them OGs? They are not OGs. If we're thinking about OGs, we're thinking about Nene Leakes, we're thinking about Ramona Singer, Vicky Gumbelson, Teresa Giudice, Kyle Richards, who else? Sheree Whitfield, okay? We talking about those types of people, okay? We're not thinking about Phaedra, Portia, even Kenya, Drew, Shamia. Like, we're not thinking about them. They are veterans, okay? Not OGs. We're gonna have to get the terminology right, because sometimes that just low-key pissed me off in a way. Like, so then Andy goes around the room. He says hey to everybody. You know, Portia got her tatas done. You know, Phaedra saying that she don't got no PTSD. Then you got Shamia, who's happy to come out with everyone else as a full-time housewife. Angela came out with her bedazzled fan. Kelly says she did not bring chicken and waffles. She brought a crystal, knowing that it's not gonna work. Then you got Drew saying that she's gonna sing 5 different languages and school the newbies. And then everybody realizes that Britt Edie did not show up to the reunion. Now, I do want to say this. I like Britt. I've been saying this from how long, but now Britt not showing up to the reunion was a disappointing and a whack move. With the reunion, that is the opportunity where you go, you speak your speech, you clarify any issues on what you may have with the ladies, you know, take accountability for what you've done wrong, hopefully apologize, hopefully move on, move forward, do something positive, and then we'll see what happens the next season. Because she did not show up to the reunion, it's giving she might not come back to the show, okay? And she just basically doesn't want to deal with anything Bravo related. It is what it is. It is what it is. Kelly says that with Britt, she had caused mass destruction in the group. Girl. I think mass destruction is a bit too far. Like, okay, Britt might have said, well, Britt did say out-of-pocket things. Okay, she didn't, not might have. She did. Britt had said some out-of-pocket things, right? From the bra bra comment with her situation with Kenya, then with her. saying what she said to Kelly. Like, we don't condone that at all. I would have said maybe she probably fractured the friend group. I wouldn't say like cause mass destruction, because that's just putting 10 on 10. So, but yeah, I would say she kind of caused a fracture within the friend group. I would say most of the people were not feeling Brit. Shamia was not feeling Brit at all. She was looking forward to addressing some of the issues on what she has had. Apparently, Portia had talked to Brit, saying that, her and her husband, they were going to come, but, I guess it was a last minute decision that she just decided not to come. So that's just that on that. At the end of the day, I don't think we're gonna see Brit ever on Housewives or anything Bravo related. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would say it's unfortunate. I'm not gonna go in order. I actually re-recorded this like how many times, and for some reason my mic kept on going off. So far my mic is on right now. So let's just see how everything goes, okay? So we're just gonna talk. So the reunion, it starts, okay? Portia sets this intention where she says that she is willing to figure out if she's going to move forward and how is she going to close the door. I'm not going to lie. When I tell you, is my mic on? When Portia said that she wants to set the intention of who to move forward with and who to close the door with, they put Shamia and they put Drew, and then they put Portia in the middle. I said, oh my God. When I tell you, these cameramen are so shady, they are completely shady. Like, I don't know what is going on, but here we go. So, yeah, that's that. Let's talk about Portia. They show Portia's package, right, throughout the season from the beginning to the end. I do want to say I do send my condolences to Portia again, because Londi had passed away. For the people who don't know who Londi is Portia's cousin, and she was also featured on Portia's Family Matters. Rest in peace, Londi. I mean, she was such a sweet soul. You can tell she had a good heart for not just Portia, but for everybody. She was everything. They talked about, her with Simon and this divorce. So I think Portia had said, because they were talking about the house, on how the house situation was, right? So Portia said that Simon had purchased the home prior to them getting married. And because there were a lot of prenup, what's the word? I was about to say constipations, constipulations. I think that's the word. Constipulations, right? Because there were constipulations being placed, they had to consider that home a marital home, right? Basically, she said that whether she keeps it or sell it, she feels like it's important for her to maintain that home, because it is one of the most important things that she has within her divorce, right? Then they got into the whole situation with how Gerald and Simon, they were buddies. They used to take vacation trips together, and apparently, Shamia had introduced Portia to Simon. I don't know. It's just for some reason, like, we're not getting the truth. And it's like, it's so frustrating to me. It's frustrating to me because I feel like Portia is in the reunion. Like I said before, say what you want to say, take accountability, speak the truth. And it's like, we don't know what's true and what's not true. But anyway, so they talked about Simon being detained on ice, and apparently they looked at Phaedra because they feel like Phaedra knows the background with immigration laws and stuff like that, right? Simon is back in Nigeria, so therefore he is not in Atlanta, not in the US no more. And yeah, so this is where I was like kind of gagged in a way, because I was not expecting my question to be on TV. So I had asked a question on Twitter. I'm going to put it up on the screen. And it basically asked this.
James Christian from Jersey said, Kelly, why did you really want validation from Portia to see if she messed with that lady's husband? Were you asking out of concern or to be messy?
I really want to know, was she being messy or was she being concerned? And for some reason, Kelly said that she was feeling concerned. The reason why I felt like she was a little bit messy in a way too is because we've all seen what's been going on in the blogs, and I'm sure Kelly has seen what's going on in the blogs too. And with her getting a chance to meet Portia, like, she was genuinely looking for an answer from Portia. So basically the answer that Portia gave to Kelly, or Kelly had figured out, that the answer was you really loved him, but it did not seem real. I totally agree with that. It seemed like you got with the man because he had money. Let's just keep it a buck. Like, He had money. He was working, I don't know where he was working, but apparently he was working at some top tier job. And you just saw the money and you was like, bam, I'm gonna go there. Like, that's what it's given to me. I don't know where Portia is kind of like going with this, but you're just gonna have to call it for what it is at the end of the day. So then Portia said that, Kelly and Portia, they had a grown woman to woman conversation, and apparently the husbands were willing to put the court documents online, which I think is really, really whack. It's stupid as hell. I just think Portia just didn't like the way how Kelly kind of like went with it. Kelly said that she has been married for 11 years while Portia was married for 11 months. I said, ooh. Why did Kelly low-key ate Portia up here? I said, you getting ate up. Chomp chomp. Damn. So then we got Cynthia. Cynthia had to come out because apparently that whole left couch was looking empty. So Cynthia had to come out. If anything, I felt like Drew could have moved on to the other couch and it would have been even. But I don't know why they didn't do that. But it is what it is. But Cynthia came out. She came. She said that she enjoyed being a friend to the show. It felt really good. And we also get a chance to hear a little bit about her boyfriend from Amsterdam. His name is LaPrince. He is 39, which means that he is younger. We also get the fact that Phaedra's TV boyfriend is 32. So I was like, okay, this is something. All right. So then another viewer had brought up the fact that Portia allegedly stole somebody's man, and why is it okay for her to say to F Angela's husband Charles? Portia apologizes to Angela once again, and I feel like this is just some BS, not gonna lie. This all stems back from the dinner at Bankhead. Remember at the Bankhead dinner where they played that game, and then Portia was like, now I heard something about Charles, and Angela was like, well, what you know about Charles? So she was saying all of that, and she was like, no, I don't want to talk about it, right? That's the reason why Angela had asked her, did you steal that lady's husband? I'm gonna just say this whole situation, the common denominator is Portia. Portia, you have said like low-key, out-of-pocket things in a way where people can question what were you thinking, and it's gonna be like, oh my god, like why would she do that? I don't know if Portia is aware of what she's saying. I don't know what she's doing, but whatever she's doing, she just needs to just bring it down. Just bring it down and just come to earth and say, hey, you know what? I should have never said that. It is what it is. I apologize. And then you got Angela talking about Shamia said that she introduced her to Simon. I don't want to go anywhere further with this, but we already know how they met. But we all know. We all know. If y'all watch season 13, we all know. So, yeah. So Andy asked this question to Portia. Did Shamia introduce you to Simon? And that was the pause. That was the pause. Like, it's either she introduced you to Simon or it's something else. Again, we're going to need for you to be honest, and we're going to need for you to just come clean and just say, hey, this is what happened. It is what it is. Or whatever bad happened, I messed up. Just do that. Like, that we will definitely take. So someone asked a question about Portia and Dennis getting back together because they saw each other on YouTube. They love them on YouTube. I actually love them on YouTube as well. I think they get along really, really good. And, Portia was like, Dennis is just such a jewel, and that's the reason why I wanted to be protective with this co-parenting relationship. And because I wanted to make sure that it was good and da-da-da-da-da. And, we would kiki in there and all that. Then you got Kelly talking about, you kikiing all in that man's house. Oh, Kelly eating up Portia again. I said, oh, I had to look at my nails. And see if I had to get them cut. I was like, oh. But, yeah. So then they talked about Drew saying that Portia's return was a flop and how she wasn't giving when she came back to the season. And basically, Drew kind of felt attacked by Portia because she was attacked throughout the whole season. I'm going to keep it all the way real. Shout out to all the Portia fans. Listen, I love all the people. I'm like Carlos King, okay? But Portia's return was partially successful. I do feel like when Portia returned and when she was talking about what she was talking about, I was like, okay, like, what are we doing, right? Like, it was just not received well. I just felt like she could have gave us more. Portia was brought back to the show to deliver a lifestyle that she could not deliver. she really couldn't deliver the house. She had to go to her old house, aka her mama's house, to film. I just felt like, Drew's thought was completely valid. In a way, it did flop because we were excited to see everything on what Portia had, whether it was the Rolls Royce, the house, the lifestyle, maybe going on a PJ or anything. I don't know why Portia's so mad. I mean, I get it, Portia's mad in a way, but it's just like, you were supposed to do all of that and it did not come through. So then they talk about this text message situation where apparently Portia had heard that Drew was sleeping with Dennis for beats. Now, Portia says that she doesn't think that Drew was sleeping with Dennis for beats. And then Shamia says that she thought that there was a text message, right? From Dennis. She was like, oh, I had the text. And then Drew was like, oh, what did the text say? Then Portia said that she couldn't remember. If you had a text message proving your point back then that Drew was sleeping with Dennis for beats, the text message would have been shown on the TV screen. Now that Portia is backing down at this evidence that it's not true, it really shows that, girl, you're just doing stuff just to do stuff, and it's just not okay. When I tell you, okay, so this is what happened, right? So then Portia was like, she should be worried about who's flip-flopping in that basement with Ralph. And then when Drew said, when Drew said, Simon says, you had no storyline. I said, oh, why is Portia getting eaten up by the other couch? I said, first we have Kelly. Then we had a little bit of Shamia. And now we got Drew. I said, girl, this is 3 people eating you up, and you're supposed to be the big daughter girl of the season. I said, oh, Lord, Portia. And you know what I also realized too? I see what Andy's doing. I feel like Andy has his favorites. In that moment where Andy was asking Drew or telling Drew that you knew that Portia was going to be with Dennis, like, why would you continue filming with him if Portia felt like it wasn't okay? Like, in a way, I'm just going to need people to not be biased and not protect anyone. Could Drew have found another producer? Yes. Did Drew want to get Dennis for TV? Yes. So I felt like, you know what? Drew was like, why not? And I actually commend Drew because I feel like a lot of people were kind of like pushing over Drew in a way. Like they kind of felt like Drew was like a doormat. And I felt like Drew was like, listen, I'm here. I'm going to clock these people and we finna work. So then what happened was Drew went off. Drew went off on Shamia. Shamia, girl, she asked a question and Drew was like, go sit on Portia's lap. I said, and while I'm looking at this, I'm just like, why is Drew last seed? Drew should be first seed for a reason. Like, why was she last seed? Because Drew has a voice. Drew is not afraid to speak her mind, speak her opinions, and say her takes. Because Drew is really eating. Like, when I tell you, Drew is low-key eating up that left couch. Drew was eating up that left couch. Like, seriously. I was like, this is like a match point for them. Goddamn. And while I'm looking at this, I'm looking at Cynthia. Cynthia Loki defending Portia. Like, girl, Cynthia, why are you defending Portia and why are you not being like unbiased? Like, we need someone who is unbiased and willing to call it all out, like on some real stuff. Like, you saying, oh, she can speak for herself, she can do this, she can do that, and that, oh, this will be a distraction for you and your music and da 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 da. I'm thinking to myself, girl, at this point, you can just be with Portia in the game. Like, it's not adding up. So then another viewer asked this question where do you feel like Portia should apologize to Drew with regards to her working with Dennis, knowing that it was just all business and it was nothing and that it was nothing else. Portia got up. She low-key cried. Now I thought when Portia got up, I thought Portia was gonna walk away. I was like, not Portia walking away again. But Portia walked to Drew. Drew gave her a hug and they were just apologizing to each other about what went wrong and stuff like that. Now I'm not gonna lie. When Angela said 17 episodes later, I said I was like, come on, Angela, not 17 episodes later. So now we're talking about Kelly and Britt. Honestly, it's no shade to Britt, but Britt's not there. I wish they could have just scraped that out. But they're talking about Kelly and Britt and their dynamics and what happened and what went wrong, right? So Kelly let it be known that she had her glam, her videographer before the show, right? And I think what she was saying was that Britt didn't have those things coming to the show. And so she recommended, her glam and her stylist to her. She probably thought, and by she I mean Kelly probably thought that she was gonna do that for just like one time and then that's it. She wasn't thinking that she was gonna use it for the entire season. Now I'm gonna say this. Do I feel a little jealousy between Kelly and Brit with the styling? I can sense a little bit, and I'm gonna tell you why. It's no shade, but Kelly is a beautiful girl. Kelly is a beautiful lady. Brit, when the stylist was styling Brit's looks, most of them were landing. So then Portia brings up the fact that Brit said that basically that they had an alliance, and the alliance was with Shamia, Kelly, and Britt, right? And I think what happened was that they went to Houston's. They said that they're going to take it to the next level. Phaedra's here now. They're going to go on this trip, and they want to take Portia down. Do I believe that? No, I don't think they want to take Portia down. I guess they want to say that their alliance is better than their alliance in a way. But Portia says she doesn't even do alliances because of the fact that it could damage a show. And I do agree with that. When you have an alliance or when you have alliances, it's kind of hard for the ladies to navigate where do they stand, where do they go, what can they talk about, what they can't talk about. Like, it's just not the right thing to do for a show. And not even just for a show, but in reality. So now they talk about how when Kelly had defended Brit or co-signed with Brit, when I think they were at Cynthia's event, the Bailey Q, and they were saying, does the husband know about the side baby? And then Kelly was like, does the world know about that baby though? Yeah. And so Kelly apologizes to Angela, and then Angela talking about, oh, now I know there was an allegiance. Angela, it's not an allegiance, it's an alliance. But if you want to call it allegiance, then period. But it's an alliance. And then Kelly was just basically saying that, listen, she was a friend and she is always going to defend her friends, right? With the whole Kenya situation, she stuck by her most of the time. Okay, this is gonna be I'm gonna say a little disclaimer here. We're gonna keep it all the way serious. If you're not willing to be here in this video, I would suggest you to exit right now. We're gonna talk about some serious stuff. I don't want anybody to feel uncomfortable. So this is just me telling my viewers out here, if you do not feel comfortable, we are going to be talking about some health stuff. So if you don't feel comfortable, you can exit the video and then, yeah, and then you can come back or whatever, or you can just skip the part. Okay. So they talk about how it was dark, that Britt had brought up the fact that Kelly had, they brought up the fact that Kelly, it didn't go well with the baby. Let's just say that. I can't say it on YouTube. And apparently it was not true. Kelly says that it was the stylist that had told him that. I don't know. Again, I don't know because I wasn't there. And, I don't know Kelly. But at the end of the day, when you bring up something sensitive to a public platform, not just a public platform, but anywhere, it can be a bit uncomfortable for that person because of the fact that they're probably not willing to share what they have gone through with birth, or what could they do, what they couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Like it was an uncomfortable situation to be a part of. Kelly had basically brought up the fact that she did not have a conversation about, that concept. And, I think maybe she will plan on talking about it, but not right now. Now we move on to Kelly being divorce free. So Kelly is officially divorced. Kelly is not using her married name no more. She's back to her maiden name, I believe. Kelly said that she felt great that she's just divorce free, right? And that she doesn't have to deal with all that stress, which I totally get, because I know for the people that go through a divorce, I know it must be hard because of the procedures that you guys have to go through and stuff like that. So I do, applaud Kelly, even though it is a sad thing. But I do applaud Kelly in this situation for what she has gone through. That she is officially divorced. She is not dealing with that man no more. Because that man was when I say that man was a menace to society. I felt like that man was a menace to society. Seriously. And I was just thinking to myself, why did she deal with that man? So for the people who know, Kelly always has a bodyguard with her, right? And so Andy had asked the ladies, does it feel weird that Kelly brings a bodyguard with her? For me, I would say because of the situations that she has gone through, it's not weird at all. You know, you want to protect yourself, you want to be safe, you don't want anything bad happening to you or anyone. And I just feel like it's valid for her to have a bodyguard around. Why not? Portia said that with her having a bodyguard, it was for two different reasons. One, because the husband was coming after her. And then two, apparently the husband wasn't coming after her at all. It was just basically all for the show. And then here comes Ralph. If y'all don't get Ralph off my TV screen, I'm not gonna give him no light, but all he said was that he ran into Kelly's husband, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna give him. So now they talk about Kelly and the unpaid rent. For those of you who have seen in the blogs, Kelly had to pay back $100,000 in, I guess it was unpaid expenses. And the reason why that wasn't paid off was because she had to use attorney fees and do attorney fees and do all these other things for legal reasons and stuff. So she said she had $200,000 in attorney fees. So she was worried about that first. But Kelly did say that she paid them a good sum of money and that the opening of her second restaurant for Nana's Chicken and Waffles is coming soon. So now we get into Angela's package. Okay, this is the conclusion of the reunion part one. So they play Angela's package, and now they're talking about the situation with the guy that showed up to the charity event or even the guy that said, cheers if your name is Angela and your husband's cheating on you. Angela says that he's from Athens, Georgia, and apparently he knew a little bit of Phaedra's family because of the fact that there was an aunt, I believe, that they know, and not an aunt, but apparently there was a brother that they kind of knew, and they went to the same high school or whatever. I was a little bit confused because I was like, okay, like Phaedra knows the brother, might know the aunt, but then I'm also trying to figure out why would you feel like Phaedra would set this situation up. So then Angela says that Phaedra wants to do all that to secure her spy. And then Phaedra let it be known that she has a guarantee contract. Now, this is just me. You better let him know, but at the same time, I would have not said that on TV because I'm just like, okay. And then Angela had to get on Portia's neck, saying that what's so interesting was the fact that she feels so eager that when she says the truth that she believes it. And it came to a point where she felt like, Angela set that whole situation up, and that's not true. And then that was the end of the reunion. Honestly, I don't know about the situation now with Phaedra and Angela. I don't know who set what up. I don't know if the guy is doing some type of hoonie honiness. I don't know what is going on at this point. Like, I'm tired. It's just a mess. Um, it's just all over the place. I don't know. That was the end of this review. Hopefully you guys found this pretty entertaining in a way. This has actually been my sixth time re-recording this video. So at some point you might feel like I'm just rushing a little bit. I'm not rushing. It was just like I felt agitated in a way, but I try my best to keep my composure a little bit. Just woosah and just make sure I just get on through with this review, okay? Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Again, follow my social media links will be down in the description box below, and I will see you guys when I see you guys. Bye, guys.